There has been a resurgence in Star Wars recently that has made me feel recently so Star Wars crazed, something that I haven't felt since really 10 years ago when the rumors and everything of a new Star Wars film coming out after so many years were hitting the surface. Because it had been 10 years, even before that, since the last Star Wars film that came into theaters, and I hadn't really gone to a theater to see a Star Wars film. So I haven't felt that kind of craze in Star Wars in quite a minute, really. And that's largely due to the success of Andor and just all the built-up and writing in that show. Because I can't be the only one that is just mesmerized and enthralled by how well written that show is. I mean, we're talking, it is a slow burn show, kind of like Better Call Saul, but man, the payoff after the first season does do some good payoff, but man, the second season, it's even so much more good payoff. Like, I'm sorry, I'm always a sucker for great shows and media that have just all-around tight scripts and well-written characters and political intrigue, mystery, things that are thought-provoking, that get your juices flowing in your head, that get you all thinking and everything, and how just tightly crafted and weaved the story is. Like, seriously, this is the best Star Wars media I think we've gotten since the original trilogy. And Rogue One, I also think, is a great, it is the finale of Andor, because for those of you who don't know and haven't seen Andor, it's basically following Cassian Andor from the Rogue One movie. And it is not an exaggeration. It literally ties into Rogue One even like hours before Rogue One begins, like timeline-wise. And it's just, it really is the best Star Wars we've gotten since the original trilogy in terms of like writing and build-up and everything. Some people are even arguing it's the best Star Wars ever. And, I don't want to go that far, I still think Empire is my favorite Star Wars film because that is literally, in my personal opinion, a perfect, nearly perfect script composed together, and it's just almost as perfection as you can get. And it literally kind of did the heroes losing before Infinity War came out, even if you could believe that too. But it's just I've just been in such a weird Star Wars craze, and I was going to talk about this initially because I had felt so after Andor. I finished it the week it came out, but some family stuff happened, so now my thoughts are here when I'm more or less in a much more better mindset than I was at the end of that week. But regardless, the reason why I also bring this up is because how it relates to gaming is Battlefront 2, the 2017 version by EA, has had a huge resurgence. I mean, look at these numbers right now on Steam chart. I mean, look at that. That's the new all-time peak is 18,000 players. And this is a game that came out 5 years ago and wasn't officially released on Steam when it first came out. So God knows where the player numbers are at that point, even beyond just Steam on all other platforms. And it's still, a steadily growing player base. I mean, I don't think it's past 18,000 at this point beyond that, but it's still a huge, growing, steady number of people coming back and playing the game. And they're doing, a hashtag, we want Battlefront 3. Let's get the team back together for Battlefront 3. And unfortunately, there was some news that did come out as a tweet by Battlefront Updates right here. EA's focus is really going to be Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends, and after they finish the third Jedi game, they're done with Star Wars, which I had a feeling because I knew that EA was losing the rights even well before this, and there were no talks of a Battlefront 3, which I think is a damn shame. And obviously, it's like, oh, well, why don't we get another studio to make it? That is true. I think that could be possible. I think despite all of this, all this surge of people talking about this game and rather playing it, I think, there could be talks of a Battlefront 3 coming, because we never really officially got Battlefront 3, which, I think is, again, another damn shame. We were supposed to get it well back in the day with the original Battlefront 2 from 2005, and actually, I think it was last year, towards the end of last year, we did get a leaked Wii build of Battlefront 3 that's supposedly was the final build before, the game was inevitably shut down, and the studio Free Radical Designs that was making it was also closed, and but anyway, this build was supposedly it, and there's footage out there that you can see, and it pretty much looks nearly complete. It just needs to be cleaned up a bit, polished, and it probably could have released, which makes it all the more tragic and sad, sadly, that we will never see that Battlefront 3 ever come out. But regardless, I still think that all of this happening when it comes to the publicity of Battlefront 2 is gone, which is maybe you want to go back and play it, because I bought this game back when it first came out even with the loot box controversy. But I mostly bought it because, again, you know, Mr. Mod Preacher over here, at the time, we were getting some pretty interesting mods. So, you know, I shelled out some money, had some fun in the, you know, at the time, Blast Instant Action, which wasn't nearly as fleshed out as it was now, like Arcade. That's what it was, Arcade, which was just, you know, team deathmatch with bots. Wasn't anything special, but it was fun for me. And then once we actually got Instant Action and everything, we were like, wow, now we can really go crazy with, you know, all the mods and have a lot more bots on the field. If you have the CPU that can handle it, that is, because this is taxing on the CPU with how many AI that can be on the field. It's like the max you can put, at least that I have, is 32 v 32, which, you know, 64 players on the map, which is a lot of bots that the computer has to handle. But regardless, it just feels good to be a Star Wars fan right now. And I know that we've always gone through this cycle when it comes to Disney's products, specifically Marvel, where it's like, you know, Marvel is so back, the MCU is so back, to, oh, Marvel's cooked, the MCU is dead, it ain't coming back. We go in this back and forth cycle, and even Star Wars is a victim of this. I've never really cared about a lot of the other Star Wars shows. Like, I watched the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, and I was really happy about that, and it did sort of invoke that Star Wars feeling back in me. But nothing like to the extent of Andor, because, you know, Mandalorian wasn't a badly written show whatsoever. It's just, Andor is just something else. I mean, we're not getting something like this again. Like, that's the saddest thing is, you know, I know a lot of people are like, oh, we could have gotten 5 seasons if Diego Luna wanted to actually do it, but, you know, we didn't get it because he didn't want to do 5 seasons of this and years upon years of doing this. I think it being just 2 seasons works, just because, you know, sometimes it's nice to just have something short, sweet, and doesn't go on for far too long. And I think that's just the beauty of Andor, is that it's going to end here, and that's it. Which is sad, because, you know, I would love to see more stuff and shows like Andor in Star Wars, or even just in general. But I think that's what makes these so special. It makes something like, you know, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, in this case, since it is a prequel to Breaking Bad, just like Andor is a prequel to Rogue One, which is also a prequel to A New Hope, the original Star Wars. It's just nice to get these sort of prequel stories that are so well crafted and well written with a tight script. I mean, I could go and gush on, but honestly, I don't think a lot of people still have seen Andor, so for the sake of it, I'm not going to spoil anything in this video. But man, just the way that they build up how menacing and how authoritarian the Empire truly is, and that you can't just, you know, go and live your own life and ignore them, keep your head in the sand, because eventually they will bother and harass you and all this, and, you know, squeeze their grip on you. The way that this show in both seasons has portrayed that, even a little bit in Rogue One, it's amazing. It's only enhanced the original trilogy and just only made it more meaningful that when the Death Star does get blown up, you know, spoilers for the original Star Wars, you feel the weight of just everything that it took just to get to that point. And it's just, it's literally peak cinema. That meme is just, it's literally just peak cinema. And I'm just happy to be seeing this resurgence in Star Wars, and it just feels good to be a Star Wars fan. And hopefully we can get something like this again, but I am doubtful, because this is Disney we're talking about. You know, they kind of prefer the jingling keys in front of people, you know, with the member berries, and, you know, oh, remember this, you know, remember Chewbacca, remember the Death Star, oh, I remember, you know, the South Park episode when Force Awakens came out. Disney kind of prefers that, which is unfortunate, but, you know, for every one of those jingling keys, fan service kind of shows that we get, there's a gem of a show like Andor that knocks people's socks off and catches people's attention, and then we get moments like this. So anyway, I think that's all I have to really say in this video. Something a little bit more uplifting and positive compared to my last video. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to know when I go live. We are still on the road to 300 subscribers, and as of recording, I'm at 274. So hopefully, the next time I make my next video, which will be Tuesday, since I will not be releasing a video Saturday, as I have a friend coming up to see me, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll hit 300 subscribers by next Tuesday. So anyway, I will see you guys then with another video. Y'all take care, and go and play some Battlefront 2 if you own the game. If not, go and buy it and go play it. It's on sale on PlayStation right now, so no excuse if you're a Star Wars fan. So anyway, take care, and I'll see you then.